The man turned into a mule. This story, popular in Spain and known in Spanish-speaking countries throughout the world, has in fact far greater point in the Oriental lands of its origin, where the transforming element is a magician. There is no record of representatives of the Catholic Church having the alleged power to change a man into a mule, whether as a punishment or otherwise. This, of course, is the kind of internal evidence which folklorists look for in plotting the derivations of a tale. And yet, in anti-clerical periods, the narrative has been used to imply that illiberal clergy may keep peasants in such ignorance that they are considered near magicians. In the Far East, people who feel that human reincarnation into animal form is absurd have used the tale to mock transmigrationists. In other areas, townspeople have been regaled with it to pander to an appetite for foolish peasant jokes. In both the literary and oral forms, it lends itself well to emphasis of whichever of these elements it is desired to point up, and it is also widely regarded as a trickster joke. This multiple potential may account for its durability and popularity. But it also means that those who try to categorize tales into humor, peasant, reincarnation, trickster, anti-clerical, and so on, tend to leave it alone when advancing theories that all stories may be slotted into neat systems. Once there was a student who, being extremely poor, began to think of some way of adding to his very small store of silver coins. He gathered together his student friends, and they talked about it all night, each of them being in the same position. Soon Juan Rivas, for that was his name, thought of a plan. "Friends," said he, "you look upon one tonight, who tomorrow shall be the son of one of the first grandees of Spain." When the laughter had died down, he looked very wise, but refused to tell them any more. "I assure you that if you bear with me for a day, by this time tomorrow night I shall be back with a story which will give us all a merry time together." Putting his plan into action, Juan Rivas, with his friend Carlos, went along the road next morning, looking for a man with a string of mules. Sure enough, after a while he came upon such a man, sitting on the first mule and leading his string towards the next town. Juan Rivas let the 5 mules pass, then as the last one came by him he seized it and handed it over to Carlos, who was hidden behind the hedge. "Take this mule and sell it in the market," he whispered. "Give me the money later when we all meet at the cafe." So saying, he placed the mule's saddlecloth over his back and followed the other mules as if he in fact was one of them. The day was very warm, and the muleteer was half asleep, sitting cross-legged on the biggest animal. Nothing worried him for about half an hour, when he became aware that all the mules had come to a halt. This was the work of Juan Rivas, who was getting to the second stage of his plan. "Hola!" shouted the muleteer. "Get going, you stupid beasts, I haven't got all day to waste." And he administered hefty kicks to the sides of the animal he was sitting upon. Still the creatures could not start, as Juan Rivas was holding onto the reins of the 4th mule, so the muleteer got off his animal and saw a human being, saddled and bridled, at the back. "What in the world are you doing there, young man?" he bellowed with many a curse, as muleteers, owing to the nature of their calling, are extremely bad-tempered. "It is no freak, you see, my friend," said Juan Rivas sadly, "but reality. I am no longer your 5th mule, whom you have beaten so unmercifully in the past, but have now returned to my own shape." But what do you mean? Explain the matter as soon as you may," said the puzzled muleteer, scratching his head. "Well, my friend, I offended Holy Mother Church many times, I am sorry to say, for which misdeeds I was turned into a mule for several years. That time I have faithfully served, and my period of imprisonment being over, I am now, by the dispensation of Providence, back to normal, as you might say, on this very day." But where is my mule, which cost me 100 pieces of silver not many years ago?" asked the man. "It may not have been many years to you, my friend, but it has been an eternity to me," cried Juan Rivas. "Do understand me, please. I was that mule. The mule was me. Now I am back in human form, able to speak in a human voice. Would that I could have told you how I felt about it over the years when you abused me and beat me so much. But that was my punishment, and I have served you faithfully. Now you speak to all that remains of your mule. Do you understand me?" "Scarcely," mumbled the rustic. "But I am not usually faced with this sort of thing. It appears to me now that you must have been that animal. I always thought there was something funny about that mule." "Well, be quick about it," said the student, "and get this saddle and saddlecloth off me, and take your uncomfortable bridle too. I've had enough of it, and I'm bruised from neck to ankle as well. However, all that is now over, and you will always be able to say that the son of one of the first grandees of Spain served you as a beast of burden, and is now restored to wealth and rank." "Are you a man of power and money, then?" gasped the man. "Oh, sir, I beg you forgive me for all I did to you when you were a mule. I hope you will not have me in prison for the kicks I aimed at your excellency. I am a ruined man." "No, no, dear fellow," said Juan Rivas kindly. "You are not to know that I was not a mule. Heavens, that is not your fault at all. I am a charitable man. I did wrong and was punished. It will not in any way help me in my case with heaven if now I were to take vengeance on you. Think nothing of this, and forget it." "Then I am forgiven. Oh, your excellency will not hold it against me. Oh, God bless you, noble sir." "It will be a great consolation to me that none of my highly born friends will know what has been happening to me for so many wretched years," said the student piously. "And I would indeed esteem it a favour if you do not divulge this to a living soul. Give me your word as an honest man upon it." "I promise, your honour, that torture would not drag the true state of affairs from me," cried the poor bewildered fellow. "Oh, goodbye, dear exalted sir, and may you never again incur the dissatisfaction of Holy Mother Church." Thus they parted, the muleteer pondering over the strange mysteries of life, and the great secret with which he had been entrusted by one of the family of a grandee of Spain, and Juan Rivas to his rendezvous with his friend Carlos, who, he hoped, had got a good price for the mule. The pleasure of a grand feast with those young people to whom he had promised hospitality and entertainment the night before made Juan Rivas whistle joyfully as he walked back into the town. As it fell out, they enjoyed good food and wine, telling and retelling the story to all and sundry till dawn broke. Some weeks later there was a cattle market in the town, and the muleteer who had lost his 5th mule was looking for a new animal. The auctioneer, who knew him, asked what had happened to the other one. "I parted with it for personal and private reasons," was all he could get out of the muleteer, "and I cannot discuss those reasons with you." "Oh, well, why you did it is your own business, of course," said the auctioneer. "But if I were you, I would just buy it back, for it stands over there. You will recognize it at once. I did, for have you not been coming in every Friday on it for more years than I care to mention?" "By the saints," murmured the muleteer to himself, "so it is." Walking over to the animal, he said to it, "Well, your excellency, I can't imagine what you must have been doing to incur the wrath of the church so soon again, but terrible indeed, as we know, are the ways of Providence. Have no fear, I will buy you, and this time I promise to treat you as one born to your station."